Hey, this is Full Game Prometheus, the only YouTube that actually gives you full games of all the tips and schemes I post on my channel. I'll show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Alright, so guys, if you are new to my channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, also the notification icon so you can get my daily uploads and tips. I want to talk about a game mode in the game that a lot of the pros play. This is a tournament type style game mode. A lot of good players, the great players, are going to use this mode. You're going to run into better players in this mode because they really can't depend on their Madden Ultimate Team getting really great cards to bail them out. So I'm going to talk about salary cap in this mode. I'm going to show you how I'm constructing my team and little tips and strategies to help you go ahead and learn how to construct your team and be very efficient with it. So if you guys are new to Madden Ultimate Team or just new to Madden salary cap makes it an equal playing field for any opponent that you play after, because there's an actual salary cap opposed to the actual cards and players you put in your team. Now I know I've run into situations, I know everybody's run into situations where they run into somebody in Madden Ultimate Team that a guy has it's just a god squad. He's got significantly better players on his team, and he doesn't beat you because you feel like he out-schemed you or outplayed you. He beats you because his players just do crazy things. They jump routes, they cause fumbles, they pick things off. They get the animations by the CPU, and it really you lose the game because of that. So it's all happened to us. Everyone's run into this type of situations unless you've had a god squad since the game's dropped and you stay on top of it. Now, if you're like me, and you don't have a lot of time to actually grind out a shitload of solos, you don't have a lot of time to go ahead and basically flip cards to get coins to build up your team, or you just don't want to pay money to actually to build up your team, you can use salary cap mode to equal the playing field. Even with bad cards, you can actually construct a very good team with a good offensive line and good defensive line and give yourself a competitive advantage against someone that actually goes ahead and has stacked players, because if they have stacked players, they have to be very selective on where they can do that, and it's going to open up holes on their team. So I love this particular mode. So let's go ahead and jump into this mode. I want you to go ahead and look in the upper right hand corner. It says a cap total 900. It says required positions 39, and then it says base players 32, flex players 32. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put all my best players in the required positions right now, and I'm going to build out the flex players from there, and then just go from there so we can build a team. And I'm going to show you how you need to construct a team. So I'm going to go ahead and just speed this up as I go ahead and make some put my players in. Alright, so guys, this basically is my team. With all my best players in the roster, I've got basically a 90 overall team in my roster. I've got all my best players on defense for the most part, and I've got basically my best kickers. But here's the problem. If you take a look at the cap total in the upper right hand corner, I am literally 50% over the cap. So the cap amount is actually 90 or 900, and I'm actually with the position players that I actually have taken on, I've got basically almost 400 cap over. So I'm almost literally half the cap of what we had. So now I've got to make some massive adjustments to my team, because I can't, there's no way I can go ahead and generate a lineup with this. The computer's not going to allow me to do that. So I got to start making some sacrifices on something on my team to go ahead and justify the cap positions that I want. So the first place that people generally take is going to be the offensive line. Now I want to show you one player here, Christian Okoye. He actually has a special feature, and this is a feature that I generally would not go ahead and give up. It's the identifier feature. That's going to allow you to go ahead and see the icon of your opponent's player. Now, most of the identifier features are going to be on a 90 overall rated player on the offensive line, so you're going to get higher cap value. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this guy in. Now, another thing too is that I don't necessarily like Alex Smith as a quarterback, so I can go ahead and reduce cap value by getting rid of him, and I'm going to go ahead and put in probably my best quarterback that I feel that's on my roster. I've got Tom Brady. I've got Dan Marino. I personally like Dan Marino, so I'm going to go ahead and put him in. So that's going to knock my cap value down by just a couple pieces. Notice one of the things I want you to take a look at. Dan Marino, one of his chemistries, and this is a very key thing, is that you want to go ahead and utilize chemistry to increase your team a little bit. So chemistry features with Alex Smith is move the chains, also move the chains with Kurt Warner, and then I've got basically Michael Vick with Pound the Rock. So what I can do to go ahead and build my team out is actually make sure I've got chemistry features. So right now Dan Marino is the chemistry is actually go deep. I've got him at basically an 8 overall because of some of the players I actually have on this team right now, with Dwight Clark at the tight end position. I've also got Michael Irving and also Deshaun Jackson. So let's go ahead and swap out some players that have less cap but still have that chemistry feature for the left tackle. So let's see here, Garrett Bowles. We're going to go ahead and sub him out. And then for my left guard, I'm going to go ahead and sub him out with a lower player, a gold player with the chemistry feature. We'll try to get this down as much as we can. So I'm looking in my card stack right here. So left guard, I've got his chemistry. He's actually 13, which is Kevin Pomfield. I don't know if I can pronounce his name correctly. What about the tight end position, or actually the center position? Let's see here if we've got a card that I can get the value down a little bit. We've got 14 overall cap, a Buffalo Bill player, which is Patrick Lewis. That's dropping me down to basically 12-16. And then off on the right hand side, we're going to go ahead and try to find ourselves another player right here. So he's 19 overall. He's got a go deep chemistry. Let's see if we can find another card on the team with a go deep chemistry. Vincent Painter is 15, so he might be the guy that's going to go into my roster. Do I have anybody a little bit cheaper in cap? We've got 15 right here with Josh Walker. Anybody else? We've got 13 right here, but that's actually a different position. So we're going to go ahead and put this chemistry right here with Walker. Let's go ahead and take a peek at this other guy. So he's 16. We're going to put Josh Walker in, actually at the right guard position. So no, you know what? We're going to pull him out and put in a natural tackle in this position. So let's see here. Vincent Painter is a right tackle, so we're going to go ahead and put him in, and that's going to give me position people that naturally play the position and really less cap. So now you can take a look at the cap total. I've actually dropped down to 1,199. So I've got to definitely make some adjustments here with my team. And make some adjustments. Okay, another thing too, this guy's 26 cap overall. When are you ever going to use a backup lineman? Probably never. So I'm going to go ahead and find the cheapest guy, and that's going to be Ryan Clady at 10 cap. That knocks me down to 1,183. So position players that I can go ahead and throw in to go ahead and lower some of my my values. I'm going to run it. I don't need a tight end. I don't need a fullback. So I'm going to go ahead and put in a tight end at the lowest level that I can possibly find. Now I can tell you one thing. Tight end positions are golden when it comes to playing salary cap. You can get a bunch of silver tight ends that can play wide receiver positions, fullback positions, or tight end positions that do not affect your cap at all. So we're going to go ahead and put in. I believe we're going to put in Mike Wynn at this position, and that's going to drop my cap down to 158. So we're getting a little bit closer. Once we get below 1,000, we're going to be doing pretty good. Another position here, I'm going to go ahead and take. Let's take Kevin Benjamin. We're going to take him out of the starting lineup. We're going to go ahead and put in. Let's see here if we can go ahead and put in LaDainian Tomlinson in that position. And I'm going to go ahead and sacrifice basically my running back position. So this is one thing that get a little bit hairy when you start getting to this position. Let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and actually put in the dirt cheap player that I can at the running back position and use a flex position to go ahead and put him in a different spot. So let's go ahead and take and put Reggie Bush here. And the other player we're going to put in the flex position is going to be my other backup running back, my cheapest running back as far as salary cap. If you look at those numbers in the upper left-hand corner, those are going to be the running back positions. We're going to take Austin Johnson and actually put him down there. So now take a look at the cap total. I'm down to 1,084 now. I've tanked basically with my line. I've got pretty low line levels. I also have Sanu here, but we're going to go ahead and just dump this guy. We're going to go ahead and put in another tight end position, because I want to go ahead and get my cap down a little bit more. I'm not gonna go ahead and depend on that. So let's just go ahead and drop this down a little bit. So let's see here. We're down to 1,056. This is my basic offense that I've got here. I've got pretty good players on the positions, and I've got still pretty much all the starting players I want. Trick with this is that when I jump into the game, I'm going to have to take LaDainian Tomlinson in running situations and switch him into my starting running back so I can have access to him. Now on defense, I'm going to have to make some major adjustments on defense. I want to leave my best defensive backs in, so I don't want to make that kind of adjustment. So I'm going to leave in Champ Bailey. I'm going to leave in Barry Church, Amos. I want those guys to make some play for me. But my fourth string corner, it's not going to be a position that I'm going to be really concerned about. So a trick to actually get low cap players in your corner positions is you can look at free safeties. Free safeties are fairly inexpensive. You can throw those guys into positions that you're not going to use. So I'm going to go ahead and drop him into my fourth overall guy. Right here, we're going to go ahead. This is our strong safety 2. We're going to go ahead and put in a cheap free safety, and we're going to put in Peyton Thomas right there at a free safety position. All right. So another thing too is your quarterback, corner 3. Here's a little trick. This is the pros. They actually discovered that this card, which you could probably pick up for a couple $100 on an auction block, sometimes it's a little bit more expensive, but Sam Shields for a bronze card is better than the majority of the gold cards out there, because look at the speed for this corner. He's 86 speed. So if you look at Sam Shields, 14 overall, these guys are going for 4 times the amount, and their speeds are not much different. So Rodney McLean right here is 32. He's twice the cap amount, and he's actually same speed. This guy's a burner, but he's not much of a burner at 32. So it takes me, I've got guys that are actually dramatically more in cap. But I've got players that are better, like have higher cap values, but they're not as fast as this guy. So that's why this is basically a pro gem, and you want to throw this guy in your roster if you want to. Take a look at Ross. He's got 94 speed. He's 33 in cap value, and one of the reasons is because of that speed acceleration component. So now take a look at my cap total in the upper right hand corner. My cap, because I went ahead and make just minor adjustments with my secondary, I was able to go ahead and get my cap total down to 995. So I'm getting close. I'm getting close to the very end here. Another thing I want to do too is I need to go ahead and put in my backup flex position. We need to tank this position, so we're going to go ahead and put in the cheapest guy we could possibly find at the line, and that's Elvis Dumerville. And then we also have got basically Tanzel Smart. We're going to put Smart in here so it gives us a little flexibility with the linebacker position. So if you drop me down to 971, and I don't really run a lot of double tight end situations. I run a 43 defense. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out Reuben Foster, and Foster's basically got a 29 overall cap. And I'm going to tank that position because I run basically a 43 as my primary defense. So now look, I'm getting closer. I'm getting closer to my cap value, and I still have got basically a lot of my best players. So now I need to start making sacrifices. My kicker, basically my kicker position, we're going to go ahead, we're going to leave the kicker as is, and we're going to tank on the punter. The punter's not going to be much of a difference. It's 14 overall, so we're going to go ahead and put in Dan Carpenter as my kicker, which is 10 overall. At my punter position, they got me down to 948. So I got to make some sacrifices here. What am I going to do with this team to go ahead and make some sacrifices on the defense? So what I can do here is I can tank my defensive tackles. Really, all I want I don't want my defensive tackles to. I just need them to go ahead and take on blocks so my linebackers can go ahead and make some moves. Now, the key to also with this, with picking defensive tackles, is that I want to make sure that I've got guys that are actually going to go ahead and use some of their chemistry. So if you take a look at my team right now, I've got basically guys with the blanket cover chemistry. So I've got Jordan Hicks, I've got Champ Bailey, I've also got Paul Krause. So I want to play off that chemistry. So let's just go ahead and take a look at the defensive tackles and try to play off that chemistry. Who's got basically the that chemistry that can help my team at defensive tackle? So I don't really have any guys that actually could play that, so let's just go by cap value. We're going to go ahead and drop it down to cap value, and we're going to go ahead and try to find the lowest cap players to go onto my defensive line. So Tyler Davidson, he's got 15 cap overall, and we're going to go ahead and take this guy and we're going to drop him out by putting in my other guy right here, Leroy Guillen. So now look, I'm so much closer to the end of the line right now as far as getting a pretty good player positions, but I've got to make some adjustments. I don't really care for Brian Arakpo as a defender, and the primary reason I don't really care for him is that he is basically a little bit slow. He's got 82 speed. I run a lot of 43 blitzes, so I'm going to go ahead and try to find a faster player, and a natural position is going to be Lawrence Taylor, and he also has the blanket coverage variable, so that's going to help with my chemistry. As you can see right now, my blanket coverage chemistry is up to a 9, and because of that, I get a 2-man coverage, finesse, and press. So that's going to help me with my blanket coverage. So another thing you want to do is you want to go ahead and put players in that they're going to be good for position. So let's see here. Let's back out of that. So I'm at 908. So I've got to go ahead and figure out who I'm going to sacrifice on my team. Now I want to show you something that this is actually going to be a little bit counterintuitive as far as how my team is constructed. I want to go ahead and let's see here. Jordan Reed is not going to be a player that I want to use. I want to go ahead and put in Delaney Walker as a player on my offensive line, or actually in my tight end. So that actually drops me down right now to 900. So I'm perfectly set right now because I went ahead and made that adjustment to Delaney Walker. But am I absolutely happy with my team? Do I like where my team's at right now? Is it something that I want to go with? Mikhail Kendricks is pretty good. I've got basically Jordan Hicks. I've got Lawrence Taylor. Jason Taylor is my tight end, as my defender off the edge. We're going to go ahead and compare him to other guys. So Daniel Hunter obviously is a left end position. He's very good. I've got basically some pretty good speed right there with Hunter. But the problem I have with Hunter is that, or the problem I have with Jason Taylor is that he's really not that fast. He doesn't have the best block shed per se, and he's not as good of a player as, say, Javon Clowney. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a sacrifice here. I'm going to actually take a guy out of position, and I'm going to go ahead and put Javon Clowney in position to take his spot. And I know this doesn't might not make sense, but it makes sense for me. I like Javon Clowney on my team. Very good block shed. He sets the edge. He's very effective for me. So I've got to sacrifice somewhere on my team to go ahead and get myself 4 points. So let's see here. Let's take a look at one of the adjustments I'm going to do here. I'm going to go ahead and take, let's see here, Collins. I'm going to put him in at the opposite position instead of the other tight end, which was Mikael Kendricks. I'm going to put him in the position because they got relatively the same speed. So now it gives me 2 cap to play with. I actually have 2 cap I can play with. I can throw into another position if I want to. So if I want to, I can put a little bit more speed at another position, or maybe just a little bit faster. So let's just go back to this defensive tackle situation. And let's see if we can go ahead and get that chemistry back up with another player. So now I can take this guy right here, Ledbetter, which basically is a little bit faster, but block shedding is less, play recognition is a little bit less, but the strength is better, finesse moves is better, so he's a little bit faster of a player. We can go and drop him in. That takes us at the 900. So what happens is now that you've got your team built, you can start playing around with your players to see how you can get better players in different positions. And this is what's cool about it, is that you're forced to play. You can't have a perfect team, so it puts you in a situation where you're not going to be playing against someone that's going to have the best team ever. They're not going to have a 99 overall God squad. You take a look at this as an 81 overall, and I put a lot of cap, additional cap. I didn't completely tank on the offensive line. So I've got myself an okay offensive line. It's not the best offensive line, but I've got some pretty good position players here. I've got Dwight Clark. I've got Delaney Walker, who's been very efficient for me. I've got 2 stud wide receivers, 3 if I go ahead and switch Dwight Clark into a position. I've got a very good running back in LaDainian Tomlinson. He's not going to break a lot of tackles, but he can catch out of the backfield, and that's like I like to structure my team. And then also I've got basically I've got Amos and Taylor, I've got Jordan Hicks, I've got Landon Collins, I've got Barry Church. So I've got some pretty good players across the board. So guys, this is how I do a salary cap. I hope you guys picked up some pretty good, picked up some ideas. You can see my go deep chemistry is basically maxed out. I got better pass blocking, I got better release, I've got throw deep accuracy, passing deep accuracy, play action. That's going to help my team dramatically. I've also got the identifier, I got hot hands, playmaker facility, and I've got other chemistries that have been beefed up because of the way I've set up my team. So guys, I hope you picked up on this. If you guys are new to salary cap, I recommend just burning a couple of tickets to go and play it, or just play with a friend or whatnot. It's a very fun feature, and it's a good way to go ahead and enjoy this game and just be able to play Madden Ultimate Team, but know that you still have a fighting chance because you're not going to run into the God Squad. So my subscribers, thank you for your support, guys. I really appreciate it. Until next time.